Five, four, three, two. Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday evening. Yours truly, Frank Morano here. Brief video. I just want to do kind of a state of the Frank address in terms of what I'm up to, what you can expect on the show tonight, and answer any quick questions you may have. A couple things. One, the big news. Boom. Carmine and I, along with my wife Rachel, we went to vote today. I voted early, which I love to do. And one of the things that I was very happy to see was the line was out the door. It was great. I love seeing so many people. I mean, this is always how it is during a presidential election. The first weekend of early voting, I would guess if you go tomorrow or Tuesday, it's not going to be that long of a line. But it was certainly nice to see so many people hyped up about being involved in the political process and helping to choose the next president. So thank you to everybody that is working so hard as both volunteers for individual campaigns or as election day, or it's not even election day, it's election month staff for everybody. A couple of things. One, some of you that are in the Facebook group might have seen the post that I posted in the Facebook group. And if you're not in the Facebook group and you're on Facebook, you can just go ahead and join the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Radio Morano, or just search Morano Radio Fans and Haters. And basically, what I said was, some people are complaining that the folks that get pre-approval, the way it is, initially the way it was people could just post. But apparently that was not going to work out because people were posting about stuff having nothing to do with the show, sometimes posting very mean things and things of that nature. So then we implemented that me or one of the other administrators have to approve your post to make sure that it's topical and make sure that it's not a violation of the rules. And if somebody has a history of posting on topic stuff, I just pre-approve them because, one, it's one less bit of work for me, and it streamlines the process. And you don't have to wait for me to make a decision about whether your post is topical or not. But some people have been complaining that a lot of the posts are redundant. And, I've noticed that too, but I'm not really sure what to do about it. So what I've done, and you can see this in the Facebook group, what I've done is just simply asked people voluntarily to consider limiting their posting to no more than 4 a day. Voluntary. I mean, if you want to do 5, you want to do 6, no one's going to stop you. We're just asking. That's it. And my hope is that if you want to comment on something that I've already done on the radio and no one else, and someone else has already posted about it, just comment on that post. So that's kind of where we are with that. And if no one has commented, if no one's posted yet, then by all means, start a new thread, go hog wild. So you could be part of the fun. There you see facebook.com/groups/Radio Morano. All right. Neil says, sorry, Frank, President Trump is speaking. You picked a bad time for this. Gotta go. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate it. I think a lot of people probably are watching President Trump. I turned him on. It looked like he was kind of saying the same things that he usually says in just about every speech at every rally. But a lot of people may end up watching this later. So if that's you, so be it. All right. Kathleen says she loved the photo of Carmine. Thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. All right. Okay. Couple of things. One, let me tell you what's coming up on the show tonight. Technically tomorrow morning, starting at 1 a.m. As we do just about every show, I'm going to kick things off with my friend and colleague, Dominic Carter. I'm going to ask Dominic about the controversy involving these newspapers, the LA Times and the Washington Post, namely making a decision not to issue any endorsement in the presidential race. Different people have very different views about that. My wife is a journalist. She feels very strongly about that. I'm not sure if she wants her view known on this, but if she does, I will share it with you. So I'll talk with Dominic about that. Noam Laden was actually at that Trump rally where my colleague Sid Rosenberg actually was speaking. So he's going to report to us on exactly what he saw at the rally and outside the rally. And I am going to talk with the author of this book. Isn't this a nice looking book? Mapping the Holy Land. Okay. It's an illustrated atlas of basically where Israel is now, and Gaza, and the West Bank, and going back centuries. So honestly, I'll be honest. I really just wanted this book because it's such a beautiful book, and there's a lot of history behind it. So I figured the best way to get a copy of this book, interview the author. But in all seriousness, obviously there's a lot going on in the Middle East right now, especially now with Israel attacking Iran, which they gave Iran a heads up on, by the way. They said, oh, we're going to be attacking you here, 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 and here. So there's that. Talking to him. Then I am going to talk to, Felix says, Frank, you're more important to me. Trump can wait. Thank you, Felix. I appreciate that. Then I'm going to talk with David Walker. David Walker is somebody that I've admired a long time. He's the former Controller General of the United States, and he is really concerned about where this country is with debt. So he's going to join me to explain where we are. I know we're in the waning days of a presidential election, and I'm trying to do something that you rarely see done by the media, which is I am focusing on policy. I'm not focusing on personal attacks. I'm not focusing on gaffes. I'm not focusing on she called him Hitler. He called her a very low IQ individual. No interest in that. What I am interested in doing is making sure people know where we are in terms of the situation in the country, because unfortunately, so much of that gets overlooked. With that in mind, on Friday, I did a live interview right here on social media with Alan Tonelson. You can go back and watch it on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. We talked tariffs, we talked the economy, we talked BRICS, and I thought it was a really great discussion, a really wide-ranging discussion. But here's the interesting thing. Looking for a prop here. See, Carmine runs around in here. I don't know where he puts everything. Here's the very interesting thing about that discussion. No one saw it. Now, why did no one see it? I have no idea. But for whatever reason, the Facebook algorithm has decided that when Carmine is shouting at the television, "Let's go Mets," that's going to get 50,000 views, and it's going to come up in everybody's newsfeed. But a 50-minute interview where Alan Tonelson, who's a real expert on this, and I talk tariffs, that's going to be suppressed in people's newsfeed. So the only way to kind of beat the algorithm is if you go to that interview I did with Alan Tonelson and click like and share it. I think it's a great discussion, and comment. Those are the three things that help that in terms of engagement pop up in people's news feeds. Even if you don't agree with tariffs, I thought it was a really interesting discussion, and I tried to raise a lot of objections that people raise. Gary Korb says, "Did you hear the Rogan interview with Trump? If so, what did you think?" I saw the first hour. See, the problem is there's too much stuff to watch. There's too much stuff to watch and listen to. How are people supposed to have time to sleep? But I'm hoping that by the time I'm on air tonight, I will have seen all 3 hours. But I've seen the first hour. I think it's really interesting. I thought, honestly, some of the comments that Trump made in that first hour had a pretty profound impact on me. I'm not going to say what they were right now, but I am going to be talking about that Joe Rogan interview tonight. Hopefully, I'll get to see it. Oh, Sean Enright checking in. He asked me, should people watch the if he had some time on Sunday, should he watch the Joe Rogan interview with Trump or listen to the podcast of The Other Side of Midnight? I told him, you absolutely listen to that podcast of The Other Side of Midnight. I stand by that. All right. Maureen says she was watching that Alan Tonelson interview live on Friday. Thank you, Maureen. Let me know what you think. I know it was a little dry at times, but you know what? Sometimes policy is not all about. Sometimes policy can be dry. Policy discussions can be dry. It's not all about eating dogs and cats all the time, or something that's similarly sexy. Okay, so that's tonight. We got Dave Walker. We got the author of this book, Mapping the Holy Land. Which, look at this beautiful book. Oh, I don't know if you saw this. I posted this on Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitter at Frank Morano, or on I'm going to share my screen here, or on Instagram at Morano Vision. This is a picture that I took of today's daily news. Ready? This is, oh, wait, nope. Okay, here we go. This is today's daily news. Look at the date. Look what it says for the date. And I know we have some people like David who tune in that are blind. The date, and this came today, it's usually, we'll say something like Sunday, October 27th, 2024. Even I have a whole book of the daily news. It's a little too thick. I won't grab it now. I have to move too many things to get it. But look, it says XXXX day, comma, month X, comma, 2020. Now that is a pretty big flub on the part of the Daily News. It makes you wonder who's in charge of this sort of thing. I don't know. Maureen says at times that Alan Tonelson discussion was a bit over my head. You know, I do worry about that. And, you know, honestly, whatever you think of Trump and Chuck Schumer, I'll say this, just so it's even-handed, Republican and Democrat. Whatever you think of Trump, whatever you think of Chuck Schumer, those guys are always able to communicate whatever they're trying to communicate, policy, ideas, campaign proposals, on a level that anybody can understand. And that's one thing about those guys that I really admire is, you know, how do you take a subject that can be a little dry, tariffs, BRICS, digital currency, and break it down for people in a manner that's easily accessible to everyone. I was trying to do that, but I guess I failed. Okay. I promised that this would be brief, so I will make it brief. Go Patty says your show is great too. I listened to the podcast. Thank you. She also says that the Joe Rogan interview was great. You know what? Honestly, I like that whole format that he does. I don't watch a lot of episodes because, again, there's just too much stuff to watch. You got to be unemployed to listen and see everything that you need to see. But then, you know, I like his style, whereas you just have a conversation. It's not really a formal interview. It's just a conversation about interesting things with interesting people. I've enjoyed his interviews with Bernie Sanders as well, Tulsi Gabbard, a lot of other interesting folks. Okay, a couple of things here. This will be the last thing that I mention here. Let me make sure it's the last thing that I'm mentioning. It's not going to be the last thing that I mentioned. Three things. The New York Times came out with this list of the 17 best bagel places in New York City. Now, as you can tell by my less than impressive physique, I enjoy a bagel once in a while. I do try to minimize it, but every once in a while I have a bagel or two. They come out with this list. And look, it's an interesting list. It's good. I've been to some of these places. Absolute Bagels, I don't think I've ever been there. Apollo Bagels, never been there. Bagel Oasis in Fresh Meadows, I have been there. Bake Shop in Bushwick, I've not been there. Baz Bagel in Little Italy, I don't think I've been there. But at least a couple of these other places. Best Bagel and Coffee, I've absolutely been there. Bo's Bagels in Harlem, Knickerbocker Bagel in Bushwick, Liberty Bagels. There's a couple of them. I've been to the one downtown. Pop-Up Bagels, I've been there. Some good places here. Russ and Daughters is great. They're not just great for bagels. They're great for knishes. They're great for, I go there for lox if I'm going to, not lox, gefilte fish if I'm going for a Jewish Seder or something. Utopia Bagels. I was just there recently. That was a recommendation from John McDonough. That was a phenomenal place. You notice what all these places have in common? You notice? None of them are in Staten Island. How do you make a list of the 17 best bagel places in New York City and not include one from Staten Island? No Bagel Depot, no Bagels R Us, no Heartland Village, no Pio's, nothing. I mean, they did the same thing when it came to the best pizza in New York. They had a great list. And I don't remember how many it was, if it was 10 or if it was 15 or maybe it was 17 again. How could they make a list of the best pizza in New York City and not include a single Staten Island pizza place? No Danino's, no Ciro's, no Dough by La Castri, no Pizzeria Jovi, nothing. And, people talk about the political biases of the New York Times. I'll tell you what I see. And it's not to say that there aren't political biases. What I see in terms of the New York Times is a tremendous anti-Staten Island bias. I understand it. Maybe nobody wants to make the trip out here, but there's no way you can purport to make a list of the best bagels or the best pizza places and not include some places from Staten Island. You can't. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Hannah says Staten Island is so ignored borough. Yes, you're exactly right. I completely agree. All right. So who here watching? Let me see in the comments. Who here watching is a New York State resident? Just comment if you're a New York State resident. I'll tell you why in just a second. Because one thing I love to do, of Richard Luthman, you're competing with Trump right now. I still love you. Yeah, people can watch Trump. First of all, he's going to speak for an hour. Okay. Saul Roman is a New York State resident. Okay. Well, Maureen Woods Osterman has a little bit of a more unique name. I'll tell you what my favorite thing to do with friends and family, and when I couldn't sleep on Saturday night because Carmine unfortunately had a little bit of a cough and it was keeping him up. And when Carmine's up, we're all up. Is search the New York State Controller's website for unclaimed funds. And you would be shocked. I found a dozen friends of mine, famous, not so famous, that all have unclaimed funds that are owed to them. Maybe this is a bank account you forgot to close. Maybe it's you moved and the check never got to you. There's all sorts of reasons. My co-brother-in-law's brother, which I'm not exactly sure what that makes me, to him, Nicholas Pecan, said he thanked Rachel when she was out there on Long Island last week and said, thank you to Frank. He got me $400. And a lot of other folks I've gotten a lot of money for. And this is your money. So I would encourage you, if you're a New York State resident or if you've ever been a New York State resident, check the New York State Controller's website, the Office of Unclaimed Funds. Now, let me show you how this works. So you go to the controller's website and you just put in the last name. In this case, we'll put in Maureen Osterman. Okay. So it's Ostermann. And let's see. Let's get even more. Okay. Let's see. And there she is, Maureen Osterman. Now, she said she's in Queens. So one of these Maureens, either the one in Ridgewood or Glendale, is where it is. I'm guessing one of these is our Maureen Osterman, who's watching right now. Maureen, let me know if that's you, if that's you at all. Yeah. See, Saul Roman says he found 2 checks last year, total $200. You gotta check. You absolutely have to check to see if you're owed money from New York State. Now, they have just passed a law, and it's awaiting the governor's signature, that would get this to you automatically. But there's something kind of fun about this, about kind of searching. Am I owed money? Am I owed money? Yeah, that's me. Ridgewood and Glendale, the same. Yeah, good. So, Maureen, you're owed money. Go on to the controller's website right now. Hopefully, it's a lot of money. And you could use some of that to purchase a Facebook subscription. So that's that. Please, if you're a New York State resident, check the controller's website, and you'll never know how much money you're owed. By the way, if you are owed a lot of money, I do think a Facebook subscription is a good idea. Only 99 cents a month, and you can sign up now if you're watching on Facebook. Click overview button under the comments box, then scroll to the bottom and click the subscribe button. 99 cents a month. What do you have to lose? What we do with a lot of that is when we have in-studio guests, we will set up a camera and do a special live feed just for the subscribers. And we do some other cool stuff for the subscribers as well. So yeah. Maureen says, help to pay for my daughter's wedding. Yeah, Maureen, if she borrows, if she borrows money, it gets her off on a whatever. I don't know. That's great that you're helping your daughters pay for her wedding. That's wonderful. Okay, what else? So unclaimed funds. Last thing I'm going to mention, we got bagels, we got unclaimed funds. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I don't think anyone outside of Staten Island or New York City really cares that much about this. But I serve on Community Board 3 on Staten Island. And the chairman is also named Frank Morano, who's a great guy, but we're not related. But we're frequently mistaken for one another and have been for 20 years. So since I've been back, which is about a year and a half, I was on, and then I took a leave from the community board because I was working part-time for Councilmember Borelli. Since I've been back, they have still done these virtual meetings, which is ridiculous. As far as I know, we're the only community board in all of New York City that does these virtual meetings. So I've been raising this issue repeatedly, and like most of the issues I raise, they get ignored. But then the district manager, who is a very nice lady, she announced that she was leaving, and the executive committee made a decision to tender an offer to someone else without posting the job publicly, without soliciting resumes or anything else. And I said, well, wait a minute. I don't know about that. So then we had this virtual meeting in September. And even the borough president's office, Vito Fasella, who appointed all of us, or most of us anyway, his representative said, no, you can't do this. The law department of New York City actually sent a letter to the community board saying all of these actions that you've taken are illegal and invalid. Don't do this. They went ahead with it anyway. So then there was an article about this, and thank you to my newspaper person, Donna, who's great. Polls concerned community board is not running legally. And it quotes Councilmember Borelli, I think Councilmember Carr. And I was quoted in that article. And I stand by my quotes in that article. Then they have a meeting of the Rules and Ethics Committee in person, finally. And they decide, I don't mean to laugh, but it's just so crazy. After I'm quoted in that Advance article, they decide to pass a rule. Community Board 3 votes to limit members from speaking to the media. Yeah. They passed this crazy resolution that says if you're on the community board, you can't talk about it on social media. You can't talk to the Advance. You can't email about it to anybody. Instead of treating it as a public body, which it is, they want to treat it like I'll see if I'll share this here. They want to treat this, whatever. You get the point. I don't need to call the whole thing up now. But they want to treat this almost like a secret society. And so, at that same meeting, the Rules and Ethics Committee meeting, they voted to expel this guy, Robert Boza, who was apparently trying to share the letter that the law department sent to the community board, which was meant to be seen by the community board, warning them not to take the actions they were taking. So right before the meeting, I don't know what happened. I can suspect what happened. Right before the meeting, we get an email saying tonight's virtual meeting is canceled because of the city law department. So you know what's happening on Tuesday? Finally, after more than 4.5 years of virtual meetings, we are going to have our first in-person meeting. And I would guess that ethics committee resolution to stop people from speaking to the media about what goes on at a public place. So that's why I'm talking about it now, because if this passes, I mean, I'm still going to do it because they can't trample my First Amendment rights. But if I'm guessing if that comes up, that is going to be, there's going to be a lot of fireworks there. So that's going to be Tuesday night. Now that we're actually meeting in person, you can actually come on down. You don't have to wait and get permission for somebody to let you into a chat room somewhere. It's going to be at Our Lady Help of Christians Church in Tottenville in Staten Island. But it has been crazy. The borough president's office and I think the council members have said that they're now looking for new community board members. So I think maybe the handwriting may be on the wall that the borough president may look to remove some of these people that voted to suppress the First Amendment rights of others. They may look to remove them for cause. So if you're a resident of the South Shore of Staten Island, oh, my sister-in-law Deborah tuning in on Instagram. It was great to see you earlier. She came by with our nephew Laby, who Carmine has a very good time with. But they went to the playground and stuff. We had some kosher pizza. Deborah's kosher. But hello, nice to see you. I'm glad you got back home safely to Tom's River. But so who knows if this passes? They may try and muzzle me. They may try and kick me out. They also tried to expel this guy, Robert Boza, and David Carr, the council member, says, all right, well, if you expel this guy, I'm just going to reappoint him. So there are certain forces at play within the community board. I honestly don't know what this is all about. I don't know why they're behaving this way. I don't know why they're doing this, but it's crazy. I mean, it's just crazy. I've never seen a community board behave this way ever. And it's very tough because, you know, I'm friends with all these people, in some cases going back decades. So you don't want hard feelings with people that are your neighbors and that you know, are in the community with. But the vote was basically 20-8 against my resolution to uphold the law and listen to the borough president's office. And all these people went like seals. They just voted for it. Excuse me. How did you vote for it? Kudos to the 7 or 8 of you that voted with me, because at least you showed either a modicum of common sense or a modicum of independence. Fred Rubino, who's maybe the funniest person I know. I've decided he's just hysterical. He says, you're talking about it on Facebook. I'm going to make a virtual arrest. So be it. So be it, Fred. Okay. That's it. That's all I have. I got to get ready for, I think the Simpsons are on. I don't know that I'll get to take that. I'm sure Trump is still speaking. Maybe I'll check out what he's saying. Got to prepare for this interview with Dave Walker and a bunch of other things to do as well. So we're going to get him done. Dominic Carter tonight. Dave Walker, the author of this book, Mapping the Holy Land. We'll find out what that Holy Land looks like and why. Please listen. If you can't listen live, please check out the podcast. Anytime you want, you can go to fmwabc.com, or you can just search The Other Side of Midnight in any podcast app. Hit the subscribe button, and you will get the show downloaded to your mobile device whenever you want. So, Carmine's crying. Going to help my wife handle this young man. Okay, thank you for watching. Please share this video. Please share that Alan Tonelson video as well, because no one has watched it. And you know what it is? I don't want to feel like I've wasted an hour of my time doing this interview, which I put a lot of work into, honestly, that no one has watched. So the only way people will watch it is if you click share. Thank you. I'll see you on the radio.